Hello everyone, welcome to day 11 of a PRELIMS series. I am Jatin Jain and today we will be discussing a major topic of current affairs from which UPSC is asking questions, and it is government schemes and policies. Since the past many years, you have been seeing the trend. The UPSC asked many questions from the government schemes and policies, and specifically in 2017 and 2018, there were around 12 to 15 questions in 1 year from government schemes and policies. And on an average, there are 4 to 5 questions from schemes and policies. The major thing which you need to remember in government schemes and policies is you don't have to be an research collector. You don't have to be a deep analysis of any research or any policy or any scheme. You just need to have a broad idea about the scheme, so that you need to have the basic knowledge of the scheme, the basic objective and theme of the scheme, basic ministry, so that you are able to navigate the question which UPSC throws at you. Okay, first thing first, don't read everything, each and every feature of the scheme, from the date from where it is launched, or all those minute details. UPSC will never ever will go into deep in that details. What UPSC wants from us is smart knowledge. What UPSC wants from us is the awareness about the things happening around us, so that in government schemes and policies, from where UPSC asks the questions. UPSC asks the questions from which new government schemes and policies which have been introduced by the government, the new government schemes and policies which have been launched or which have been talked by the government in the recent budget and economic survey, new government policies which are little controversial or which have gathered the limelight, all those policies. And otherwise, the policies which are very significant, which has shown very prominent positive results in the past 2 and 3 years, which are centrally sponsored schemes, which are at the priority agenda of the government of India, which are at the futuristic vision of India, and which are at the center of Indian development and Indian economic growth. For example, Digital India Mission. For example, National AI Mission. For example, biotechnology policies. For example, various government schemes on water sector, water security, water development, policies and schemes on farmers policy, national capital for farmers, Kisan credit card, agricultural schemes, agricultural policies. Okay, फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्री सेक्टर में से जो स्कीम्स आती हैं, हेल्थ सेक्टर, एजुकेशन सेक्टर, द स्कीम्स, नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, आयुष्मान भारत scheme. Every year, many questions are there from the schemes and policy sector, which are indirectly asked by UPSC. Schemes which are the priorities of the government are very important. The government are focusing on those schemes, so you should also focus on the schemes, as every year scenario changes, the current affair changes, the context changes. From that context, we are able to identify which schemes and which are the priority sectors for the government of India. For example, caste census has been reduced, so any schemes for the tribals, for the OBCs or the reservation sector becomes very important. And from each and every sector, social sector, economic sector, political sector, or developmental sector, technological sector, every sector, the schemes are important, so you need to be aware of those schemes. साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में जो हमने बात की थी, द स्कीम्स फ्रॉम दैट सेक्शन कैन आल्सो बी इंटीग्रेटेड हियर. फॉर एग्जांपल, नेशनल एआई मिशन, ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नोलॉजी, क्रिप्टो करेंसी टेक्नोलॉजी, policies for all those things, policy for digital banking, digital India, policies for digital infrastructure made in India. G20 की थीम भी थी हमारा डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, डिजिटल पुश. So all those things becomes very important. So you can categorize the schemes into social welfare, economic welfare, tribal sector, socio-economic development, political sector, sports sector, youth and sports, energy sector, various things for women sector, child and development mission, vaccination mission, health sector, education sector. So if you will be categorizing those schemes and studying the schemes, then it becomes very important. For schemes, what I would suggest is take any material. I used to take of IS Parliament, schemes wala, go through the index, categorize the schemes which you think are important, which are flagship schemes of the government of India, which are the priority wise schemes of the government of India, and which are asked in the PYQs, the theme, not the correct scheme. UPSC never repeats the policy and the scheme asked in the PYQ, but the theme can be repeated, that sector can be repeated, so you need to study that sector, mark those sector on those index, and then revisit those things. And in those schemes, what should be a priority sector? Only 4 or 5. What is the ministry of the government of under which the scheme has been run? Who executes and who implements the scheme? From where the funds is coming? what are the priorities of those schemes, what are the objectives of those schemes, what are the aims of those schemes, and who are the functionaries or the beneficiaries who are included in the scheme. Only these 5-6 things you need to study about any scheme or policy which the government is introducing. From these 6 factors, you will be able to solve each and every question of the scheme which has been asked by the UPSC if you have read all the 6 parameters of that particular scheme. Okay. You don't need to go very deep in the scheme. What are the policies? What are the factors? What are each and every points? No, just these 3 points: which ministry, who executes it, who implements it, who gives funds, who are the beneficiaries. It is a center sector scheme or the state sponsored scheme, and who are the beneficiaries, what is the inclusion and exclusion criteria. That's it. And the scheme portion done, and along with it, what are the aims and objectives of the scheme. You need to have very important things, है ना? Environment sector, technological sector, political sector, ecology sector, economic schemes which government of India will be introducing in the economic survey and the budget. So you have to be aware about it. So that's how the smart strategy should be covered for the recent schemes. You should be aware about the current affairs. That's why newspaper reading is important. That's why referring to any current affair magazines or current affair compilations is very, very important. And if you see the trend of the PYQs of the schemes, UPSC plays with the data. Wherever UPSC gives the data in the schemes, it is incorrect. From which year the UPSC, the particular scheme was launched, the funding is 10,000 crores if it is 1,000 crores, but funding is 100 crores if it is 100 crores, 1,000 crores. So UPSC try to manipulate the data that beneficiaries from the age of 18 to 60 are involved. Otherwise, the data should be 20 to 60. So whenever data is involved in the government schemes and policy, you should be very, very aware and cautious and assume the data to be incorrect in the schemes and policy sector. And if there are 2 objectives, the objective of the scheme is this and the objective of the scheme is this. Remember, there are only very few schemes with multiple objectives. Otherwise, there is schemes with a very core focus of understanding, the core focus of attention. The primary objective of the schemes is different and the aims is different. Try to differentiate between the objective of the scheme and the aim of the scheme, and it's the executor and it's the consequences. Suppose 2 and 3 options are there. The objective is this, the objective is B also, the objective is C also. All cannot be correct. Only one of the objective will be correct. From this logic also, it will help you to solve the questions on government schemes and policies. So don't go deep into the schemes unless it is a flagship one or unless it is very, very important or you feel so it's very popular scheme for current affair wise. Go superficially, go all these 5-6 parameters and you're done with the schemes. So government schemes के लिए मैंने बता दिया, there is nothing any source, just current affair, PIB, compilation of all the schemes, material which I refer to IS Parliament. You can go through it, go to the index, prioritize the schemes, prioritize the sector, see which is relevant and not. Refer to the material like budget and economic survey, the things discussed, the schemes mentioned by the Honorable Finance Minister of India in the budget speech or quoted by the Supreme Court or any judgment or any government policy or agenda. That becomes very, very important because it's a part of a current affair. Schemes are asked which are relevant, which are current oriented, or which have shown significant result or which have been recognized or applauded by the global institutions like WHO or like UNICEF or like any other institutes. For example, Manrega was popularized, Manrega was applauded by the World Bank. So then those schemes become very, very important. Otherwise, various sector-wise schemes, diversified schemes, their ministry becomes very, very important. Okay. Thank you. Jai Hind.